Hey everyone.
Hello. Welcome out there. How we doing tonight?
Yeah, Tuesday.
Welcome Tuesday to Origins Illustrated. I am one of your hosts. I'm Courtney Wright, and this is.
Hey, I'm Catherine Hicks, AR/VR designer based in Memphis, Tennessee.
Oh, yeah, I always forget that part. Yep, I'm an actor and a writer, and a basic comic book lover, all around nerd. Yep, card carrying. So tonight we are so excited to be back with y'all tonight. We wanted to talk about the Batman.
Yeah, I am vengeance. I am the night. I am Batman.
Oh my goodness, yes. So before we pop into that though, because we're just gonna dive in. Before we do that, I just want to briefly mention real quick that we had an amazing drop today. Marvel dropped the teaser trailer for the upcoming series Ms. Marvel, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I know that I didn't read the comic, so I just want to put that out there. I totally remember seeing it, but I was always super confused about Ms. Marvel, Captain Marvel, the Marvel. Like, I was so lost. I was like, wait a minute, which one? I'm confused.
And there's so many Marvel names, even like on DC. Shazam is called was it Marvel?
He was Captain Marvel, and then they changed it because of so I'm gonna be honest, I missed the train, but I know that she is a very popular and beloved character, especially since she is the first Muslim American superhero to be represented by the MCU. So I'm really excited to support this series. What did you think about the trailer?
I got like Netflix teen show vibes, but I think it would be a good show, especially for that like age demographic. This kind of pulls in, I guess they're kind of like, it's in a way I see it as a kind of like a competition, like with the Netflix teen segments and Disney Plus. They're trying to pull it in with like the Marvel well-known brand. So I will definitely be watching it. It's nice to also see like a Muslim superhero. I have plenty of like Muslim friends, and it's like really cool to see that represented.
Absolutely, to be represented in such a positive light, because I feel like a lot of times when you see a character and their faith is Muslim, they're represented from a perspective that is considered to be problematic from that storyteller's narrative. There oftentimes it's villainized, and I'm really excited to see just a positive representation of this character, and to give the public a different eye, just a different kind of like a spotlight into this family. Because it is a family, and I agree with you. I got Netflix vibes as well. I got Never Have I Ever vibes. And she just seems like such a charming character and actress to really love. Do you happen to, let me see, I have her name, the actress that's playing the character. No. Iman Vellani.
Yeah.
Yes. It is from the series creator Bisha K. Ali, or Ali, sorry. And please forgive us if we pronounce the names wrong. We are super excited to support and cannot wait to see the series. But the character of Kamala Khan is a diehard Carol Danvers stan. First discovers her own burgeoning superpowers and starts putting them to good use as supervillainy begins to take root in Jersey City. Another thing that I really loved when I saw in the trailer was the fact that they seem to have incorporated what looked like to me was drawings that had comic book flair. That's something that I've always wanted to see, that kind of representation of book to screen, to find to just be supported that they are similar. And the only other time I've kind of seen something like that and is the movie that shall not be mentioned, and that is the Ang Lee version of the Hulk.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking of. Like
it was not received well. I remember that was the one part about that film that I really enjoyed, was the comic book transitions.
Yeah,
that was it.
That was cool, but there was some weird like tripping like sensibilities of that whole movie in not a good way.
It's in not a good way. I mean, again, the movie that shall not be named, but I I am looking forward to Ms. Marvel being the iteration that comic book fans reference when they mention a book to screen series, so, for the most part, all of Marvel series have been, a slam dunk, in my opinion. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier was not my favorite. And I stand by that. That is the hill I'll die on. I'm just letting y'all know you can disagree with us.
I stand by that too. That was I almost wanted to get up and walk away from that show. And I'm a person that will watch a lot of shows. So
Yes. So we are, we're really excited to see that. I believe Moon Knight is going to be our next Marvel series that is coming up. And I think that drops on March 30th. Yep. So that's something that we have to look forward to. And because that is like 2 weeks away, friends. 2 weeks away.
Yeah, this is like the March Madness of comic book stuff. Like you got that spring break movie comic book stuff, or drops, like trailer drops and stuff. But yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about Moon Knight and a lot of comparisons to like Batman, but like he has personality disorder and dirt and stuff. So I'm curious about it.
Yeah, he's giving me Legion vibes. I don't know if you ever watched Legion on FX, which was the son of Charles Xavier, who had that kind of schizophrenic character. Yeah, I'm all in. I'm ready to see something fresh, because I'm not familiar with the Moon Knight character. So, in Marvel we trust. So but now that is enough about the Marvel family and the franchise. So let us move into the DC world. DC,
the Batman. The Batman. With the V, Suicide Squad and the Batman.
Exactly. They love the word "the," because that makes it original. But the Batman.
Is the Flash, or is it Flash?
Yeah, it's the Flash.
Oh, okay.
Was the Aquaman the Aquaman? I don't know.
Yeah, I think
it wasn't the Wonder Woman. It was just Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Patty Jenkins was like, I don't need a the.
Yeah, I just need Wonder Woman.
Exactly. All right, let's dive in. You want to get started? How many times have you seen the Batman?
I've seen it 3 times. I saw 3 times. I was solving Riddler puzzles. They have a link from on they have a link and you can solve puzzles, and I've been doing that and been analyzing a lot of the scenes, and I've been obsessed.
Yes, Catherine and I both went to the AMC. You went to the AMC fan event, right? Yeah, we both went to the AMC fan events in 2 different states, but we had the same kind of experience. But you got a comic book too, right?
Yep. I got
hold that up, because I don't know where mine is right now.
The Long Halloween. So in Memphis we have Malco's, which is kind of strange, but it's the same like IMAX viewing thing.
Okay.
But yeah, this is it's the Long Halloween issue 1, but it's a recover in style of the Batman film, but the innards are the same as the Jeff Loeb comic, which Jeff Loeb is Matt Reeves' screenwriter.
Oh, right on.
Or not screenwriter.
Awesome.
Matt Reeves' teacher. He was a screenwriting teacher. Yeah, my bad. So
he's a screenwriting teacher. Right on. Okay.
Yeah. So
all right.
There's a lot of Long Halloween references in this film. Not full on, but there are some references.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about this comparison from book to screen, because I know that Matt Reeves said that there were a lot of influences in certain comics that he used to craft and create this story that we saw in the Batman. And I know I saw the animated series, the animated movie on HBO, Batman Year One. And you also mentioned that there was the Long Halloween had influences, as well as, what did you say, Zero Hour?
Long Halloween, Ego, and sorry, I wrote it down. Long Halloween, Ego, Year One, Zero Year, No Man's Land, Venom. There's a ton of references, but there's a comic book box where you can get Ego, Year One, and Long Halloween. Those are the 3 that you can get.
You sent that in the link. I'm gonna check that out. But the one thing, because I want to start at the tippy top, and then we're gonna move our way down.
Should we say spoilers?
Yes, before I wasn't going to spoil anything. Yeah, I was going to talk about Year One, the animated series, before I jumped into the spoiler. But yes, absolutely. Let me say this a little bit about Year One, and then we're going to do this.
I need a sign. I just need to get a big sign that says spoilers.
Exactly. Year one, the animated series, was awesome because it was like Batman came back. He was 25 and he had been overseas training, and this was his reintroduction into Gotham society. And he was really learning how to who he wanted to be. You know, what is the version, the iteration of this superhero that he wanted to become to save Gotham. Like, he hadn't even chosen his costume yet. He hadn't even decided that he was going to be the Batman. You know, like it was such a powerful retelling of a story that, from a perspective that I, hadn't seen it done before. And there was different versions of the Selena Kyle character. There was humor, Batman chiding himself, saying like, like that was an amateur move. Like when he would get into fight with bad guy, like with criminals, just because it was new to him. He had done things in training and overseas and what have you, but it was all going to be a completely different animal right on the streets of Gotham. Did you happen to see year one?
Yeah, I watched it. It was like visually interesting. I think the only thing was like the voice acting for Batman was kind of weird, but
he did look 30. He looked 35. I was like, okay, sure,
yeah,
I'll buy it.
But the voice acting kind of matches that like early. I can't remember the accent that people had that was made up for TV and radio. There's a name, and I'm gonna lose it. But it kind of gave me that vibe,
Okay.
kind of old school, like maybe 20s to 40s. I know that's a long range.
Like film noir?
Film noir, but also just like almost like a radio, like voice acting wise radio vibe.
Got it. Okay.
But it was a nice, like, it was nice and refreshing. It was also like a very quick paced, like a really like short animated film out of all the other animated direct to HBO Max shows.
So. And the cool thing about Batman Year One, it also gave us an introduction into Jim Gordon, and Jim Gordon was new to Gotham City, and it also helped kind of bridge the gap, in my opinion, of this coming together of Batman and Jim Gordon, and this foundation of a level of trust that they had. And I thought that was really cool. We got to see, Jim Gordon had hands, what I mean? Like he came with it, and I was proud of him.
He knows how to fight. And it like also showed the like corruption in Gotham within like the police department.
It did, and it set that up really nicely. So, and that is a wonderful segue you did right there, because now we are going to transition into the actual talk about the film itself. So spoilers. This is your moment. This is your time.
Come back to the link once you've watched the movie. So
exactly, you have been spoiled. You have been warned.
Spoiler talk.
So now we are going to talk about the fact that moving from year one, this movie started with year two, which I thought was so dope that he put that on his book. He literally wrote that year two. So it's like, even though some of the things that happened within that year one movie weren't necessarily relevant, just to know that the foundation of the work that he put in was relevant. And that was that just moved us right into year two.
Yeah, like, and the introduction to Batman was really great, because I feel like it was like the first time, like kind of like just when he talks about darkness. So I'm just talking going back to the opening shot. Where it's music's playing, rain's going, he's doing an introduction, which is very comic book like, where he's just narrating. And the darkness side felt like I got the vibe of like the villain perspective of seeing Batman, which kind of just sent, for me, it sent chills down my spine. I'm like, I don't know, the darkness shots were great. And like him writing his journal was also awesome. And using like contact lenses.
The contact lenses, that was probably my favorite tech thing that he had, because he really wasn't tech heavy, which is another thing that I loved. Because we really got to see Batman live up to his moniker as the greatest detective.
Yeah, or a detective in training, because he's like
well, yeah, detective, that's a great detective in training, but we get to see him as a detective. Listen, he was showing up all those cops. like
True.
legitimately answering all of the questions that they just standing there like, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. You know, like with the exception of Jeffrey Wright as Jim Gordon, everybody else was just
like,
slow to the game. You know what I mean? They like looking for tickets in their pocket, and the game is like half over.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you about the darkness and just the whole overall setup of the film. Like even right down to like the musical score that introduced us into, you know, like Gotham City, which, you know, was heavily influenced by Nirvana. And that first time that we see him is him walking through a crowd, just dressed unassumingly, you know, in a mask, just a regular, like, you know, basic mask, not any costume or anything like that. He's just walking amongst the people, talking about how he spent his time crafting the mythology of Batman and the fear that it incited in people, like when they saw the bat signal go on, when anybody mentioned him, just the idea of the darkness that he might slip out.
Yeah, like the fear, like as soon as they see the bat signal, they look in the darkness, they're like, they run away. And I thought that was just like brilliant. Like this is such good like cinematography and shooting and sound design and score. Man, that score is
that score, which leads us into the first time he really starts putting in work. And I know that there is a lot of controversy around the scene where the Asian American man was the target of the gang's attack. And I just I understand why the community, an Asian community, felt that way, you know, to because there's still attacks happening. I mean, an attack happened just in New York yesterday, you know, an attack on a 67-year-old woman. And though I do understand, I don't think that the filmmakers, I don't think that was intentional or meant to harm. You know, was it? I think it was it in what is it, an undersight? In undersight, because it wasn't an oversight, like an undersight. I think potentially, but I also think that they were trying to showcase that the protection of it, you know, being able to protect someone is the moment did not service the film. It was a great moment, you know, like filmatically speaking, from cinematically speaking and filmography, like it was incredible to watch, just the way that it was shot. But
they should have had like more discussions before shooting that or getting that actor and shooting it, the film. I think if it seems like like something they didn't really like take note of mentally and what's going on around it. And plus this film was delayed, so I'm wondering
was delayed. And that's another thing that I was just about, you just pulled the words out of my head, because it was supposed to be released early to mid 2020, which is when the pandemic happened, you know, and there's no way that any filmmaker could have known that there were going to be violent attacks on the Asian community before this film was prepared, because it could have easily have been a Black person, it could have been, you know, a white woman, it could have been you know, like it could have been Latina, you know, there's just no way to know. It's just unfortunate, but that conversation is taking away from the craft that went behind making this movie. But pulling away from that, pulling back to the film, what did you think about that scene where we're introduced to the Riddler?
We're introduced to Riddler, the opening shot.
Well, the shot when we have the Mitchell, the mayor, Mayor Mitchell, and Mayor Mitchell is watching the press coverage of what's happening, and you know, his family. Actually, even before then, the Riddler's watching him, and I didn't realize this until the second viewing that I knew the Riddler was watching someone, And I didn't realize that the little costume kid, the first time I watched it, was the son that was on his way out to the Halloween trick-or-treating with his mother. And then cut to inside the home with Mitchell. And, you get this shot of Mitchell, then you watch him in the TV, and then the camera cuts back and just the eyes.
Yeah.
Just see the eyes. And I was like, oh my God. Because the first time I saw it, I was like, I don't see anything. And then the second time I was looking for him, and I'm like, and I saw it, I was like, oh, it was so jarring.
Yeah, it's really interesting paralleling the Riddler's introduction and how like he's just looking through binoculars and paralleling Batman. And they both have similar introductions where the Riddler is a part of darkness. The most you can see, the lightness you see is his eyes. He's like embraced and engulfed with darkness versus Batman, where he comes out of darkness.
That's a powerful comparison, especially given, and I'm jumping so far ahead, given where the scope of the relationship that the Riddler has with Batman, and thinking that that he is his partner in a sense. To have that was, I like that. Okay.
There's a lot of parallel shots, even just with the stripping of their masks. Like Batman has a hand stripped nose piece.
You noticed that.
Riddler has that. They both use binoculars. There's two shots. Sorry, I'm kind of skipping ahead to like all the parallels.
Yeah. No. That's totally fine. Like, I totally hear you. The Riddler also was giving me Seven vibes. You know what I mean? Like the Seven influence in the way that the strategic, meticulous killings were going down. Just from that kill to the next kill, which was who was that?
Okay. There is
no. I think I'm thinking of the same moment. I'm thinking of before he died to Mayor Mitchell's discovery. That's what I was thinking of. Okay. To like when the Riddler takes him down, and then the next thing we see is the cops and Batman walking up the hallway, and then we see the scene that has been left by the Riddler. The where he's tied up, where he's like taped up, and all the cops are standing in the hallway, and the right
on the face,
and we discover the first riddle.
It was cool. Like it was also interesting to see like some micro expressions from like Batman in that scene too, where he's like analyzing. Batman doesn't really speak a whole lot in this film in comparison, but he does a lot with his eyes and micro hand gestures. But I thought that scene was like cool. It was a cool introduction to like just showing Batman like being a detective. And it's also funny because in this moment and within this film, you realize, Batman is kind of like a little in the way of the case. Like he's doing his thing, but they're like Batman is amongst police officers is not like super feared, I guess. He's like, oh, what are you doing here? You're like in the way. And like he's literally like in the way as this person's like trying to dust something off. It was kind of funny, but interesting.
Okay, we could totally go beat by beat with this, but we don't have that much time.
Sorry.
So we gotta like, no. I'm doing the same thing. I am equally responsible. I'm talking to myself. Like, because I just want to talk about it. But there was a moment where you and I were talking about how there were some things that I found questionable, and I know that I'm jumping like all the way ahead. We had talked about like saying it at the same time, like what was our moment that was. But I think rather than people trying to fight to hear what we're saying, why don't you go first and say the thing that you were gonna say, and then I'll tell you what if I that's what I was thinking of.
So I know like the way they shoot it wasn't the intention, but putting in like the realism of it, Batman's kind of like seen as a peeping Tom. Like I know he's not doing that, but when you like, that's what's funny about this film. It's interesting. It adds another layer. It's like in the real world, if Batman's doing these things, he's gonna look weird. Like him looking at the boy, like that's gonna look strange. If you just walk by, there's this guy looking at a boy, or if he's just looking through, someone like sees through the chaps, he's looking at this girl changing. He's trying to figure out who Selena Kyle is, but when you add that layer, what she's wearing, it's like,
Right. And she's changing clothes. He didn't look away at any point.
Yeah.
He didn't like turn like, okay, I don't need to see this part.
Yeah.
No. He was just like legit, like all in, this is an opportunity of like a sexualized Catwoman, because here you see this, this dude who's supposed to be our hero creeping in, looking at an old girl as she puts on her quote unquote cat suit. Yes. Okay. So we were in the same vicinity. My problem was, okay, after they have the cool, like, Catwoman is revealed to be this like burglar of sorts. They go in, do their thing, then they decide, okay, we're gonna go back to the house and talk to Annika, right? She comes back and she's like, my phone is missing. Now, why did they take her phone? I mean, okay, maybe they thought it was Annika's phone, but they took her phone. So if you're going to take her phone, why didn't you destroy the phone? Why take it if you're not going to destroy it? Okay. Now,
why they took the phone.
You took one phone, but yet you left Annika, the kidnapped victim, with her phone so she could make a call and leave a voicemail on old girl's phone that apparently she needed the phone itself to hear. Now I understand we got like visual voicemail on phones today, but you gonna tell me you can't find your phone and you don't call your number and with from like either a burner phone or a replacement phone and check those messages? You just wait until you get the phone back. Oh, I guess it's somewhere. Nobody tried to call me. Nobody tried to text me. It's fine.
Yeah, I don't like. It's one of those like weird. There's no like weird, like logic in phones. That's what I didn't really think about. Like,
it just made such a power. It was such an important part of the latter part of the film where Catwoman, and I'm totally jumping in, where Catwoman goes, she's kidnapped the dude, the bad cop, she's got him there, Jim Gordon and Batman come in, and she's like, I got him. And listen, I have my phone, and Annika left me a message. You still got that phone?
Yeah, I'm wondering if if Annika was struggling and like, I don't know, maybe they should pat her down even if she's struggling and stuff. But like, I guess they were just like, oh, we got to do this in a hurry. And
she just like accidentally, maybe Annika had an Apple Watch and maybe Annika just said, hey, call her. Then nobody decided to take from her. It was just weird to me. That was a moment I was like, things that make you go, I think that was a little, it was just a lot for me.
No, I understood. There's
that and every single time she said baby, she walked in that room, was like, baby, are you here? I don't know why that bothered me, but it bothered me.
I guess like they're implying that I mean,
oh yeah, they're implying they're together, although didn't stop her from macking on Batman that next scene.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
so they wasn't that happy together.
Oh, yeah, I guess it was more like a more like friendship, but like with benefits or something. I don't know how deep their relationship was, but it didn't sound like super deep.
And and I nitpicked that because I feel like that was another thing that was kind of seen in year one, the animated series, that not that she was a lesbian in a relationship with like the little girl that she was taking care of, but they did give those vibes that she had a relationship, I think, with another woman in the cartoon. But I want you to try. She could be a criminal, but she could also be faithful. Okay, yeah. Like if she's a lesbian, she's in this relationship with Annika, then let her be in a relationship with Annika. Don't have her macking on Batman in the next scene, because she doesn't have to necessarily be like, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know.
Kind of like drifting between two people type of thing.
Flighty. She doesn't have. She could be someone who is serious, and if she's serious about Annika, serious about finding her, serious about like someone that she loves and cares about in this way, just don't half-ass it. Like. That's one of the problems that I have with like representation. Like, it's one thing for you to imply like, oh, they may have some, but just give full representation. Just go for it. You know what I mean? Because otherwise then you just make her look like she's a little
A little like wishy-washy on people.
wishy-washy. Exactly.
Yeah, I wasn't sure because like when I first watched it, I assumed they were like she was helping her try to leave the country or something, and they were like more buddy. But like them saying baby was kind of confusing because I'm like, you don't call your friends baby, but
Listen, I have called like if somebody's like ill, you know what I mean? Like somebody's ill and dying, I'm like, oh babe, like, are you okay? Like, what can I let me get you some soup? You know what I mean? Like, we not in a relationship, but I care about you. It was this is a random comment. This has nothing to do with anything. It just bothered me. I brought it up for representation. That was the reason that I wanted to comment. Like, if you're gonna represent, then represent. You know?
Yeah,
but
like do it 100% instead of like kind of do it lightly. Even though I did like Batman and
I did like them together.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying, like, don't muddy the water. If you want her, you know that your end goal is to create some sort of budding romance between Batman and Selena Kyle. So just create the budding romance. Just create the budding romance. Just don't
like lightly imply like either or. Like if you're gonna well, essentially what you said. Like if you're gonna like show this relationship with Adam, do it, but don't do this weird like what is it? Aren't they kind of like between her friend or I don't know.
And her friend. Exactly. Yeah. No, so first of all, I just want to say I really, really, really enjoyed the Batman, just like Catherine. Loved it. I saw it twice. And I'm a huge fan of Robert Pattinson and the work that he did, and Matt Reeves and the story that he crafted. The little nitpicks are just because we loved it that much. Yeah. It's not us like hating on the movie or saying anything that we didn't enjoy. These are just things that like, hey, next one, if there is a sequel, just take these little things in mind. Like,
honestly, this kind of reminds me of like this movie and how it's received, and like just in general reminds me of Batman Begins. Batman Begins kind of had like a B+ A- rating, and people. I guess I'm just talking about like the criticism from this film. I've like I've listened to a lot of reviews, people talking about good, people like it, didn't like it, but remember when Batman Begins, the complaint was it's too dark, it's too realistic, Christian Bale's voice, all these other things.
Did you like his Bat voice?
Robert Pattinson?
Yeah.
I can hear what he was saying. Like I can understand.
You can understand him? Yeah.
It worked like for me. I liked it. I felt like this Batman was the most Batman. Like if you could add Batman and Batman, I've added it in like threes. Like he is like a comic. He's what I see as like a live action Batman. But I liked it. I can see like people being like, I feel like in some theaters when I went to watch it in Atmos, the volume was too low, but that might have just been a theater thing because I watched an IMAX, so it was fine. I could hear him, but sorry.
Yeah. No. I liked his Bat voice. I thought that he was a really great Batman. I thought he was a great young Batman, and it wasn't too focused. The focus that they showed on his parents' murder was from a different perspective, and I loved the way that they crafted it because it wasn't. We didn't get that old flashback scene where he is like no pearls that were ripped apart, him not crying in the alley. The only child that did kind of represent a connection to him was him seeing the mayor's son, and recognizing that he himself shared a similar background with that kind of, violence that happened at a young age.
Yeah.
And I loved that unfortunately that kid had to go through that, but I respected that we didn't have to go through seeing it happen to him, our hero character, again.
It was also evident in his performance too, like every step he took, even though for me sometimes there's some scenes where I'm like, you can walk a little faster, but like you can just walk a little bit faster. I can understand certain scenes like you have the weight of your parents in every step you go, but like you can see it in his performance, and like that child is also kind of a representation of him. Like especially at the end scene where he pulls out when you think it's the mayor.
Oh gosh, yes,
himself out from the darkness. From
that was hilarious. Can I just tell you? Because that moment when first of all, as a Black female, if you see a masked superhero, I don't care what I feel about him. He's offering me his hand. He gonna pull me out of the water. You better believe my hand is out. I'm ready. But she was hesitating. She was like, I don't know, girl. That ain't. If I was her, if I was that actress, I'd have been like, listen, I understand what you're trying to do. You need to put me in the back. because like no one's gonna believe that a black woman like, you better get me out of here.
Yeah.
Because nobody's gonna believe that. I call bullshit on that moment. But that little boy wasted no time. He was like, here's my hand.
Yeah.
And out of nowhere, like, give me.
Yeah, like the way they shot it, like it makes it seem like, but like, yeah.
But like appeared.
I will say on the flip side, Gordon does have like that black man moment where they go into the asylum. I think it's the orphanage, and Batman's like, no guns. Like, you do your way. I'm gonna do my way. Get the gun.
Exactly. That's exactly right. That's exactly what I would have done too. You'd be like, you do what you want to do, but I'm going in with this gun.
Yeah, I would even say like the sequence where the mayor's like walking out. She's like, "What's wrong with people?" And they don't want to. Unfortunately, she did get shot in that scene, but I will say like her
twice. She's bleeding out. That was another reason why you better get me up out this water because this is like dirty and bacteria infested, and I got open wounds. Get me up out of this water. She's in the back like I'm gonna take my time. Sit down. Sit down and take that hand and stop playing.
Yeah.
Go and take that hand.
Oh man. Oh.
Another moment. This is the moment that made me chuckle. The DA got a bomb cuff on his neck. Batman is steadily inching closer, closer, closer. The countdown is going lower, lower, and lower. He's still asking his questions. Listen, you see that number. You hear the buzzer going off. You see it's at 10, 9, 8, and you get closer? Nah, bro. I'm going to be over here. I can still hear you. Go on and say what you're saying. You about to blow up.
Yeah. He's too focused on that case. He's all about, he's like, I guess he has tunnel vision. He's like, I need to know. But like, I don't know, when you focus on something, you forget about the time. But it was kind of like, I would step away. Like, get away, Batman. You're going to die like this.
Legitimately. And you mean to tell me, how long was Batman out? Because they got him out of the church, back to headquarters, and put him in a room. So he had to be out at least 20, 25 minutes. You mean to tell me nobody peeked under that mask and they all sitting there like, can we look? No.
They tried.
They listen, there was a black man in them and among those cops. He looked. I don't care what you say, he looked. There was a black man besides Jeffrey Wright, and I know he looked.
I did like I loved Jeffrey Wright and Pattinson, I guess Batman and Commissioner Gordon's relationship in this film, where I felt like Commissioner Gordon wasn't just like this person that was sidestepped, or he wasn't like, all right, I'm gonna do this, turn on this light, here we go. He was like legitimately, I would say, a superhero. Like,
yeah, I mean, and they were a great team. That was something I also really loved about this film, that we got to really see Jim Gordon, not just in the back, like, posting up the sign, like, okay, here's the case, go, and Batman goes and gets him. With all his gadgets and his tech. It was like, no, Jim Gordon was right in the mix with him. My favorite moment was the thumb drive. My favorite moment. Because like he pulls out, he figures out his drive. And I completely forgot that old dude was missing his thumb. Completely forgot. And then Batman pulls out he was like, well, how do we get in here? And then Batman pulls it out. It's a thumb drive.
I feel like he's
this guy, Jim Gordon. Oh, this guy. I was done.
He's hilarious.
Like, this guy's hilarious. Yeah. Oh man, so good. It was so good.
Gordon's just tired. He's like, man, I'm just ready.
I need to retire. These fools got jokes.
Yeah. Oh man, I love that. I also like the car scene.
Oh yeah.
The car has an introduction. The car is like a character.
It is. Oh, that was the moment that we see Catwoman again, and she's messing up the plan, unbeknownst to her. But I was like, when did he leave? Because he was laid out in the water, and all of a sudden the car revs up. I was like, who is that? Oh, that's Batman.
Yeah, the car's revving, the sounds booming. Penguin's face is like, oh shit.
Yes. Speaking of the Penguin, Colin Farrell killed it. That was I can honestly say he might be my favorite Oswald Cobblepot.
Yeah,
because he did such a good job in making the Penguin his own, and and I know he really wanted to have the penguins like, either a cigarette or a cigar, and DC was like, no, no cigarettes, we're not trying to, be like R-rated.
Would that cause an
Or like,
R-rated?
it wasn't, it was PG-13.
But would cigarettes cause an R-rated?
I don't know. I feel like there is something that is cigarette. They tried really hard to not have cigarettes in movies. Just that, the way it's projected on children, I think.
Children should not watch this film. I'm sorry.
Listen, I know, like, even though it's PG-13, you wouldn't catch me with my child out in there. But if I had a child, which I don't, but I still wouldn't take my imaginary child. I thought that the penguin, just like of the size of him, I loved that he wasn't this like little, like shrunken down, like man that didn't have any like weight to him. Like there was this essence of him, and he was an old school like style gangster that you think of, like mobster, and I really liked him. There was one penguin moment. Did you catch it? Like when they had him like, when they had him tied up after they leave, and
even the car scene. Even the car scene, he's waddling to get down and shoot. Like,
okay. Yeah, I didn't notice that part. Yeah,
it's pretty cool. Like, it's Colin Farrell. Like, he's dissolved in this role, and I'm glad he's getting spin-off shows. Like, he's gonna get his own HBO.
Yeah, he's gonna get his own movie, and I'm so excited for that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
They're building a Bat universe, and I felt like this Gotham and just this universe was lived in. Like, there's so many references even to the comics, like Carmine Falcone and him saying that Bruce Wayne rescued me as like like he went to the hospital. Bruce Wayne's dad, Thomas Wayne, rescued
Thomas Wayne. Yeah,
that's a reference in Long Halloween.
Okay. Yeah. That is really that. Just the way, the crafting of the story and the building of it, right down to the whole sins of the father. The fact that the Riddler targeted Bruce Wayne, the man. Like, this is something that we should be doing. Or like, this is someone that needs to be hunted and repay for what his father did. You know what I mean? Even though he was a child and clearly could not have any like parts of this, but just in the weaving of the story, it just became such an exciting journey, especially given like Bruce Wayne and his apathy towards Alfred, and because
that's like, this Alfred looks like he can kick someone's ass, and this is like, I'm curious how far they're going to dive in the sequel with that, because I know in some iterations of, like, I think Pennyworth, and even like there was the Beware the Batman animated show, and they dove into Alfred's
service. Yeah, and I love that they mentioned that, like they gave that a shout out when he was helping him uncover like the riddles and things like that.
Yeah, he was like, he's who trained Batman. I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm like curious. A lot of I have a lot of analogies in this film, a lot of parallels, like even the car chase scene with I'm bouncing back. When the car is flying out from fire, it's like a bat out of hell. A bat is descending out of hell.
Oh yeah. I was a little miffed about certain things in the trailer. Like, this is why I don't watch trailers anymore, because there was a lot of that car chase scene that was in the trailer, and then that final shot when they catch the Riddler. Like, I knew when I watched the trailer, I was like, oh, that's when they arrest the Riddler.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean? Like, and then to see it exactly shown like it was in the trailer, like that really bothers me when they do that.
They showed too much, they showed a lot of the like. It kind of been cool to not know who Paul Dano was the Riddler, even though I know he's giving interviews. He was in it. Yeah, but like, man, like Paul Dano. Sorry, his micro expressions are amazing.
I'm such a huge fan of Paul Dano. I wanted more of him. And the fact that and I understand, it's kind of like Kevin Spacey in Seven. Like, you don't really get to see Kevin Spacey in Seven, even though we don't talk about him much anymore. But that character comes in at the very end. So I understand how the Riddler, the iconic character, is more important than the man behind the mask. But I love the comparison that he used of his mask to Batman's mask, you know, and the fact that it was so important because the Riddler never wears a mask in any other iteration. You know, he's this comic book dude and his green and his like question marks and his like, you know, his hat, his like bowler cap. And I love that this Riddler was just really like kind of crazy savvy, you know, like he wasn't this elegant guy who was like, you know, I'm smarter than the average bear. Like this guy knew he was smart and really had an agenda. He had a plan, because usually the Riddler doesn't have a plan.
No,
he's some riddles to steal some jewels or some shit, you know.
Yeah, I'd say in the animated series he was like more like he had more of like he did a lot with Batman and a lot of like trying to test him and everything. But yeah, I love that this Batman, or not Batman, this Riddler, it's kind of interesting how he's like kind of like a streamer type kind of QAnon-esque like figure.
That stream scene, that was hilarious.
Like,
all those like crazy things that those people were writing, comedic.
Yeah, it's but it's like a very real world scenario, like but I don't know, like it's pretty cool. Like I would say the glasses, something that I've been seeing in a meme. The glasses that Riddler wears are like the same glasses that Jim Carrey wears in Batman Forever. I don't know if you've seen that.
No, really?
Yeah,
they are.
They're the same clear glasses that.
Oh my goodness! I'm gonna have to look for that.
Yeah, I'm like, oh wow. It's like I don't know. There's a lot of references to. I feel like Matt Reeves went into a cabin in the woods, ate nothing but Batman cereal, ate those calzones, watched nothing but Batman. His Batman was 24/7 in this cabin, and I saw that in this film. There's so much references. But
yeah, there was an edge to him. There was an edge that you really don't. I mean, yes, Christian Bale had an edge, you know, in Batman Begins and in The Dark Knight, but it was different, you know, because the grunge of the city, I felt the weight of the city more in this than I ever did in anything else.
Yeah. It wasn't just like a Chicago.
It wasn't just like that. And still Nolan's Batman still focused a lot on his tech and like Catwoman's like cat cycle. I remember that was like the coolest cat cycle Anne Hathaway had, but this really focused on the character. It was very character driven, you know. I mean, right down to the moment where Batman thought he was caught, where he thought the Riddler knew who he was, you know, that moment in the apartment when he was like, okay, maybe this is over. And then when he finally goes to see Paul Dano, and he just kept saying Bruce.
I was a little confused on this because I thought the Riddler knew who Batman was, and then people were questioning it, and it's kind of been flipped. It's kind of, I don't know.
Batman, it seemed like he did know he was. That's what Batman thought. Batman went in like totally. He just kept saying Bruce Wayne, and then it got to be the point when he realized like he's the one I didn't get. And then Batman, like it was cool. Talk about the micro reactions. Like his eyes, like literally, there was a moment where he was like, oh shit, he don't know.
Yeah,
like you know what I mean? Like his eyes were like.
Yeah, he's trying to also look away. So, because it seemed like the Riddler was trying to gauge his reaction because the last case he solved was the first one where it wasn't public. It was very directed. And he sent that present out to Alfred. So that's why I was like thinking, like, is he trying to, because Riddler made a statement saying that this is your real face. Like Batman is Bruce Wayne's real face. So that was another reason why I guess I thought the Riddler thought he knew, because when he was referring to Bruce Wayne, he's referring to I thought he was referring to the mask of Bruce Wayne and not
no, I realized he didn't know. Because you know, like the first time I saw it, I was like, oh, is he gonna know? Like, how is he gonna get out of this? And then when he just flipped it, because I feel like if the Riddler knew, he would have released that. He would have had like some kind of side hustle ready for somebody to release that, you know, even if, you know, Batman found a way to get out of it. So I think he really does not know, even though he had all the pictures up there. Like he really just was focused on the actual hedge fund, the renewal fund. Is that what it was called? Something. Yeah.
I think so. See, like, so there's actually like there's a comic where the Riddler, and even even in the new animated Hush film, where the Riddler finds out who Batman is.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah.
And Batman's like, what's a riddle that everyone knows? Like Batman tells Riddler that if you know the answer to the riddle, what's the point? And so that's kind of why I thought like the Riddler might know, but thought if he reveals it.
then it's over. Yeah. What else is there? How else am I going to come back and battle with him?
Yeah.
Okay, this is my last nitpick critique. So when Batman is on the scaffolding and he decides to make his like last ditch effort to save everybody, and he cuts the electrical cord and he falls into the water. That's live electricity. He just fell into the water with live electricity with all them people in there.
Yeah,
aren't they all dead?
I was kind of confused about that because like he fell in, there's electricity, and then he got in the water, electricity was gone. So I'm not sure, like, did the electricity somehow go away in air
in the clipping?
Yeah, because like because I was like, oh well, he's gonna electrocute himself and
everybody else.
Yeah, but like I was a little confused with that. So yeah, it was beautiful, but like it was a weird like, where did the electricity turn off? Yeah, I don't know. That was I think my nitpick is more of like the Joker thing that was shown at the end. And I don't know if this was like, because from Matt Reeves said that there was a deleted scene that they had Batman and the Joker, and they removed it, and this is pre-Joker before he's Joker.
Yeah, they had a whole. He was supposed to be a character in the. He's supposed to be a character within the movie, and they ended up cutting him.
And that's the character from the Eternals. I forgot his name. He's Irish actor Kogan.
Yeah. Oh, really? Mm-hmm. The one who played Druid? The one that Druid. You know, the one that Makari was in love with. The one who had like the power to control the mind. I didn't even see. Yeah, I cared so little about that character. I didn't even know.
Yeah, like
I was like, who is that guy? He's annoying.
Yeah, like I don't know if that was like a weird like, all right, Matt Reeves, you gotta insert the Joker. I don't think the Joker will be a big character in the next film or even in the spin-off shows. I think it was a way of saying, oh, we have him here. Yep. Here you go. But that's
exactly what he said. You're spot on. He said he's just more of a representation. The Joker is supposed to be the first villain that Batman caught and put into Arkham. So it's not necessarily that he will come back or escape and be the lead villain. It's just to show that Batman, the Riddler is not Batman's first. Mm-hmm. That's really what that was about. Yeah, I don't really have much else to share on thoughts other than I totally was excited. I was not, let me take that back. I was not excited to see this film. I went in with complete openness because I did not have high expectations because DC lets me down from time to time. I'm still not over Wonder Woman 1984.
Yeah.
And but I was pleasantly surprised and I thoroughly enjoyed myself, even with the little crazy nitpicks. They didn't really bother me that much. They didn't take away from my enjoyment of the film. We didn't really talk about Zoey Kravitz. I did really like her. I liked her performance. I'm not a huge fan of her work, but I did love what she did with the nuances she brought to this character. There was a life to it, a life that was deeper than what we've seen thus far. We usually just get Catwoman, and like Michelle Pfeiffer was like, oh, I was accidentally killed, and Halle Berry, I was accidentally killed, and cats bit me, like Anne Hathaway, I'm a jewel thief, and that's all I care about. And this one, she had a backstory, she had a life, she had reasons for who she was and how she was. And she had a connection to our actual villain, like Falcone. Like she was connected to the story pivotally. Yeah. And I thought that was brilliant.
That's also a reference in the Long Halloween, Catwoman being related to Falcone. Okay. Sorry, a lot of references, but
no, that's great. That's great. Thanks for sharing.
But yeah, like I loved this. I think I really liked this Catwoman, and she had more of a motivation. She wasn't just like, all right, I'm Catwoman.
I'm just here to steal stuff, and even when she went to steal, it was with the exception of like the money. Like she went in the first time to help her friend, and then the second time it was to like get out of town. And everything was purposeful. It wasn't, just born out of nothing.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are my final thoughts. I just wanted to share that, we didn't really talk about her, and I thought she did really lovely work.
Yeah, I loved her Catwoman. Like,
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see more. There's another parallel with Catwoman and the Riddler and Batman. In the scene where Batman's about to follow Catwoman, she also walks out of the Iceberg Lounge.
Yes.
And the camera is on the left side. And but in the scene where Catwoman walks out of the lounge the second time, and this is after he's one of the Scar brothers or something, but yeah, he walks out and like she walks away, and the camera is placed in that van. That's like the Riddler scene. So I thought it was cool that there was a parallel, and it was on the right side. The camera's on the right side. But that's another parallel where there's a scene with Batman and Catwoman's walking out of the lounge. There's a scene with Riddler and Catwoman's walking out of the lounge. Sorry, that's a
wow. No, I mean, I have to see it again because I got to live for all these things.
There's a lot.
I did remember noticing like certain shots and things like that, and the way I love the way that they looked, and the way that they enhanced the storytelling. But I didn't look for those certain things. So I did plan on seeing it another time while it's in the theater, because I did get to see it. Second time I saw it in IMAX. I think I might go see it in 4DX.
Oh man, that'll be fun.
3 hours of getting shaken up like like a milkshake. I'm super excited and I'm ready for it.
Yeah, I wish we had that here. I have to drive to Nashville to see it.
Oh no, yeah.
Because I enjoyed the Turtles when I had that. I'm like, that was the best way for me to watch that film.
Right? See, I told you, and I didn't even follow my own advice. All right. So, do you have any final thoughts you want to share?
I really love this film. I had a lot of high expectations going into this. The first time I didn't really fully digest it, so I got out of theater. I'm like, what did I watch? It was well made, all this stuff. I don't have an opinion. The second time, I loved it more and enjoyed it, and it was more solidified. But this, I would say, is the Batman I wanted. It's the first time it's a detective-focused film, which is great. It's a film noir film. On the flip side, it's interesting seeing people react to it, being like, "Oh, it's him being a detective." Not many people are realizing that Batman is a detective, which is weird.
I know, which is so funny. Like most people don't realize, and that just goes to show you what a disservice that people have been doing. Filmmakers have been doing to this character. Like you focus on the gadgets, you focus on the women, you focus on the suave, Batman or suave Bruce Wayne, and you lose sight of what he's actually supposed to be doing. He's not just fighting amazing fight choreography. He's actually chasing something. And this movie really, I agree with you. It gives us an opportunity to get to see his intelligence outside of his brute force.
Yeah. And like, I like that this is like so I would say with the Nolan films and this film, in terms of like Batman and Bruce Wayne, like a lot of people, they'll be like, oh, where's his billionaire playboy personality? This is like he
hasn't developed it yet.
Yeah, like Bruce Wayne is the mask. I see this as Batman's becoming Bruce Wayne. I think that this trilogy is probably going to hint on that. I think the next one he'll do more of the playboy personality. Yeah,
I was hoping that we would get that final moment, because there's a moment where Bella Real comes up to Bruce Wayne at the funeral before the DA comes in, and she's like, I really was hoping we could sit down and discuss the philanthropy you could do to help revitalize Gotham City. And I was hoping a final shot would be just him at her door and just it opening and him saying something like, like him just even walking in with like a smile. I didn't even need words. I just needed to know that there was an attempt at like Bruce Wayne becoming the Bruce that we know. But again, it's fine. I hopefully they do another one. Have you seen reports yet that they are going to do another one? He's not, and he hadn't announced it last time I checked.
I don't think he announced it, but they definitely made enough money to where they do. I know Matt Reeves plans on doing like a trilogy, and like
okay, I hope so. Yeah, I'm here for it.
These trilogies, there's gonna be spinoffs. There's gonna be an Arkham Asylum show as well as the Penguin.
I knew about the Arkham Asylum and the Penguin. Yes.
So yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's going to happen. I'm curious about the next villain. A lot of people are thinking it's going to be Mr. Freeze, which will be interesting in a realistic setting.
Okay. All right.
I feel like, sorry, I've had bad conversations with friends about how Mr. Freeze, like, how are they gonna do a grounded Mr. Freeze? Is he gonna be like a bubble boy? Like, what is it gonna?
Yeah, like how are we gonna? Yes, I agree with you, and I'm ready to find out. Like,
Yeah,
I'm okay with that.
but yeah,
All right.
But favorite Batman or love this Batman. This is my favorite. Pattinson is my favorite live action Batman.
Ooh, that's a great hot take.
I mean, I know like people have Keaton and all the other ones, and Batman will forever be in debate of who's your favorite. But he's my favorite live action. My favorite all time is Kevin Conroy, the animated series.
Yes,
Batman.
the animated series. Yes. Yeah. I kind of agree with you. Like I did really enjoyed Robert Pattinson. I thought he did a really great job. I loved it's for me, it was like because we catch this Batman from a different time period, it's literally like we're going through his true beginning, because Batman Begins, Christian Bale, he had already established, regardless of, you know what I mean, like yes, we could see him in Ra's al Ghul and like the League of Assassins and blah blah blah, but this one is him really young and really slightly green.
And they show his imperfections, like even just
shows his imperfections.
The dive you seem afraid of before he jumps. Yeah. So I like the imperfections they showed. Like he's not as, I feel like the Bale version, like he's too like perfect. But
yeah. All right, friends. Well, that concludes our show for this evening. Thank you so much for sharing this time with us, sitting here on a Tuesday evening. We just want to give a shout out to Digital Click and all the creative you provide. We couldn't do this without you. And please support Digital Click. If you have use for anyone, that kind of graphic design, wonderful Digital Click, they are your people. Go find them. Please support the Geekish Network on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, and anywhere you listen to a podcast. We are there. If you cannot watch our lovely faces, please listen to us. We're on your Apple, Spotify, and there's one more.
Apple, Spotify. Is there is Parcast one?
I'm not sure, but you can find us. That is your mission. That is your riddle. Riddle me this. No.
Same geek time, same geek channel.
Same geek time, same geek channel. We will see you all next time.
Bye. Have a happy Tuesday or Tuesday.
Oh yeah, Ides of March.
Yeah. Ides of March. God of War Day. I mean, Tuesday's always God of War tier, but yeah.
Yeah.